what you do, and then
Yeah.
yeah, we'll go from there.
Okay. My name is Talle. I get weirded out by my last name. I don't know why, but so we'll just leave it at Talle. Because you can easily look it up, probably. But anyway, Talle, and I am a professional archaeologist and a part time yoga teacher, part time podcaster, part time small business owner. I got all the things going on and I'm quite lazy. So it sounds like I'm not, but really, I am very, very like I can sit on the couch for days. uh, and then it's like, oh, it's go time. I need to do all the things within a weekend. So I try not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's really my story. I got on Instagram, which is how we met. And was it my yoga challenge, or it was a yoga challenge that we met on?
Yes, but I was trying to remember what it was. I think it
Me
might
too.
have been. I think it might have.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that though?
I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe now.
Mm,
Yeah, because I don't really do, Instagram's a love hate relationship, and
yeah.
and I wasn't really on there to begin with, um, until probably the year prior when a friend of mine was like, "Oh, this is a cute picture, post it on Instagram." And I'm like, "I think I have an account. I don't know." So she did it for me. And she's like, "This is what you do, and this is how you do it, and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a try," because Facebook is kind of getting a little out of control,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, sure, I'll post selfies, It's like, God, are we this narcissistic? And look at what I'm doing today. So so it kind of started off as a joke, but I found this yoga community and I really loved it. And I loved doing challenge. Like the first challenge I did, I didn't even understand. I thought you just did whatever. I didn't realize you had to follow rules,
Yeah,
follow
right. Me
people,
too.
follow sponsors. And I'm like, oh, they're like, "Oh, you're so adorable. What are you doing?" And it's like, oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed because I'm just doing my own thing. And I still remember. And then I was like, "Oh, okay." And then just thought, my mom passed away from multiple sclerosis, and thought, okay, well, I'll do this yoga challenge, and then, become friends with several people from that challenge. Like, I consider you a friend, and I've never met you, and I
I
want to
know.
go visit you, and
We can't wait for that to happen. We really
yes,
can't.
yeah. So you could show me around. Oh my gosh, I would never leave. You're like, when is she's been here for 3 months? um, so yeah, like and I was helped a friend of mine do a festival locally in town. I live in Golden, Colorado. And so that kind of sparked me getting more involved in this whole world of Instagram 5 years ago. Now I'm like,
Backpack. Isn't it interesting, huh? Over
yeah,
time.
yeah,
It's like, I don't know if it's a combination of over time, you change your perspective. I think it probably is a combination. You change your perspective about it, or about the community of yoga, and it's the combination of what's happening within the community of yoga. And I like to say our growth as yogis.
yes,
So that it's I know for me, I pinpoint, it's not, I'm much more cognizant of it not being about asana.
yes,
Asana is in essence a piece of yoga that gets you to where you should be as a yogi, if that
yes.
makes any sense.
Oh yeah, yep. Hmm.
So I think it's a combination. It's a little bit of a conversation I've had with a couple of people. I can't necessarily pinpoint it, but that sort of that piece that you said about that narcissistic. What are we doing taking these pictures? I mean, yeah, it helps me to figure out what I'm doing wrong in a posture or something. but I'm seeing
Yeah,
it
when you
very
see your
differently.
photo, when you
Yeah.
see a photo, you think you're all like in this like gorgeous pose, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, oh no.
I know. It's very interesting. And of course now there's this other woke yoga stuff that's happening, for lack of a better way of putting it, right?
Mhm.
So that's really fascinating to me. How so my attachment to it being IG yoga is very different
Yeah,
than it was. And I guess that's the way it should be, because if you don't grow, what's the point?
right.
You know? And growth doesn't necessarily mean that I can stand on my head and not use my arms.
Yeah,
Right? You
it
know?
looks cool, but it's not. What are you doing?
Right.
It, that's great. You can do that.
Wonderful. That's not the kind of growth. Okay, so I got a growth in the posture, but if you're truly
Yeah,
connected to what the limbs are about, that ain't it.
it is not it at all. Not it at
Mm-mm.
all.
Mm-mm.
And I'm so glad that you have started your the new Instagram account, because it's needed, it's necessary. It is, well, it's eye-opening for white people,
Well, I think
because it's like
mm,
it's always been like that, and we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't know, what are you talking, like it's a surprise to us, and everybody else is like,
hello.
no, no, it's not. Like, so so I think it's really great, and it's such a good movement to have, and to have these talk. We need to talk. We need to
Yes, we
talk
do. We
and need
do.
to have those uncomfortable conversations that I've been having with friends and family for the last 4 years. So it's,
Mhm.
like outside of yoga. So not even people I don't know, which they do slide into my DMs a lot and just, well, what about this? I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I hear what you're saying. What are you getting out of this? Kind of come back with questions, because it sounds like you're now validating yourself. Why do you feel like that? Why can't this just
B.
be? Why can't it just be? Why can't this just maybe be the truth?
Right.
And then I don't ever hear anything. These are from friends, like friends and either family members, or like people who've been in the family for a long. They aren't family members, but they're like family.
Right.
And so I just ask these other now I have to walk away from them, because my mom was Norwegian, so I always say that I have like this German Norwegian anger, this Nordic anger that comes out of me like instant. And if I didn't do yoga, woo!
Oh,
But
yeah. I hear ya.
because I'm just like an angry person to begin with, even though I smile a lot, but I'm just like, ugh,
Mm.
people are stupid.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so I have to give it a minute before I respond. And then when I do, it comes back with these questions back to them, to really, me again, try to understand where they're coming from, because what's the fear, and
yeah. Mhm.
where are you going with this? What are you, validating? What are you trying to do? What are you accomplishing from this to make
Mhm.
yourself feel better? And I 9 times out of 10 have never gotten a response back, or I get them to come back at me with like some hot garbage video from, what is it, the QAnon
Yeah, yeah,
thing, or
yeah,
what.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, what? That's not a conversation. You're responding with a video of some crazy person speaking hot
Crazy.
garbage.
Right,
So
right, right,
like,
right.
I want to know what you
Right.
say. And and I was like, I I don't have all the answers. I'm learning every single day. Every single day, I learn something new. I screw up. I relearn.
Right.
That's the whole process. And there's nothing wrong with any of that.
Right.
And, it's like, if you keep, well, this person said that, so I'm validated, then this is what's happening.
Right.
So it needs to be pushed through. I don't know. I'm just kind of.
No, 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 no. It actually it does make it makes perfect sense. I think when you um people are so used to not being introspective about the issues about race in the United States. Um and the only way that they can be or start to be is people have to be pushed. And I'm not just talking about white people. I'm talking about all people.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know, in my professional life, not my yogic life, um, I often say to people, you have to go inward. And once you can tap into what the emotional piece is about for you, that then becomes the catalyst for you and your learning.
Hmm.
Um, and you push back because you're afraid. And
Yes.
you're afraid because no one's ever we it's not like we have a course that starts like in kindergarten or nursery school that says this
Unfortunately.
is going to be important in your life, that if
Yeah.
you're going to be successful, if you're going to be able to connect with people, if the other piece of who you are, not just sort of, well, I don't know, the whole of you, the spirit you, the physical you, the whole psychological you, if you are going to be successful in all those areas, here's some skills that you're going to need, and we have to build on those skills, like from nursery school on up. How do you build on those skills so that you're not afraid to have the conversation, you're not afraid to be wrong, you're not afraid to be upset, to cry, to be angry, to be, the full range of emotion. You're not afraid of that. And I think um, for Americans of all its diversity, because we are changing so quickly demographically, faster than people anticipated. They
Yeah.
used to say, it used to be, I think when used to do diversity and inclusion training in corporate, we used to say, oh my God, it was like 10, 15, 20 years ago. In the year 2050, the
I do remember.
ethnic,
Yes.
the ethnic, the largest ethnic minority, I'll come back to that term in a second, will be
Uh-huh.
people of Latin, Hispanic descent. Well, that happened a while back. So it
Yeah.
is moving much faster. And I think because people had this myopic, particularly white people now I'm talking about, had this myopic view of what America is supposed to look like and would
Yeah.
always look like, it is changing like that very quickly. And because you have no foundation, no one taught you this, it wasn't in school, whatever, you go, oh shit, this
Yeah.
this this, this is not looking like what
What?
what? It's kind of like you said, where these people come from? Well, we always been here. Hello. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
we've always been here.
We've
And
always, yeah, we have it.
yeah, hello. Um,
That's a
and
whole other topic.
and guess what? You can't control birth rates and death rates. And people of color, particularly Latinos, Hispanics, and Latinx, um, is the fastest growing because there's all these other, I mean, I'm not going to go into some, well, I don't know, diversity lecture or anything, but birth rates are quicker and faster. People are dying faster that are of European descent in the US. Is one of the reasons why there's this, and because over time you had all these oh, during Y2K we need a lot of Asians to come help us out because we're thinking all the computers are going to freak out, so we'll just admit them all that say they want to immigrate here, you know what I'm saying? So then we have growing populations of people that we then go, oh no, oh shit,
Oops.
oops, now we have more. Wow, there could be more of them than there could be more than us. What's that about? So I mean, I'm sort of in jest, but the reality is,
Right.
you start looking and you go, it's not like what I thought it was going to be, and I don't know how to navigate it for so many people because if you live now, you live in, I don't even know where Golden is exactly in Colorado. Where is it? relationship?
It's just west of Denver, right at the
Okay.
start of the foothills and the mountains. It's a horrible place. Don't move to Golden, right on the onset of the Rocky Mountains in 20 minutes to Denver.
Oh, okay.
Perfect location. Don't move here.
Don't move here. Okay. Okay. Don't move there.
It's a horrible spot.
Don't move there. You know, but most places, if you're not sort of within, I would say a certain radius of a fairly large or a larger urban area, you don't get much
Yeah.
diversity in the US. You don't.
No. And I will say, sorry, Colorado, but I'm going to call you out. It's very segregated here.
Yeah.
It's very segregated here. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, originally.
Oh.
Yeah, and moved here in my mid 20s, 20 years ago, actually. And I mean, 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And oops. And moved here and was like, I'd never seen so many white people in my life.
Wow. Yeah.
It was a culture shock to me. And it's still, after 20 years of being here, I have fallen into the trap of, I just go about my day. There's nothing wrong here. Because I don't see it, because it doesn't happen in my neighborhood. I even lived in downtown Denver, and it's still like, there's still, they live over here. I mean, that was 10 years ago. So then nothing's changed. I went there yesterday. And although, no, nothing's changed.
No.
You know, I could say there's acceptance. There's acceptance. Obviously, we've gone blue. But that's all along the Front Range, what we call like the I-25 corridor. And that's not even all of it, because Colorado Springs, an hour and a half drives down the road, is very red, very conservative. So, and then surrounding the east and the west is also very conservative. So it's a battle around here. And there's a dark history here, especially in Golden. Apparently it was like where they would hold KKK rallies in town. Yeah. And it's ugly and it's awful. It's not talked about. I think it should be talked about in a way of, let's change that. Let's not sweep it under the rug.
Right.
Let's not glorify it, obviously, but let's not sweep it under the rug like, oh no, nothing ever happened out here, which is not true. So it's really interesting to me, especially, you know, like I was about to say, Boulder is just up the road from me, very college liberal town, not diverse. So we can walk in our liberal whiteness all day, but what else are we doing?
Right.
What else? Okay, great. you're, you know, so, and that I have fallen into that. I have fallen into that trap of just going about my day and like, everything's fine. Nothing wrong here.
Right.
And I probably over the last, 2 or maybe even 3 years, because time is just like, don't even get it anymore.
Yeah, right.
You know, like I could say like, but it been months. So 2 years ago, maybe when that movement started happening on Instagram, like woke yoga teachers, and started following people, because I noticed my Instagram was very white. The yoga teachers that I followed were white, because there weren't any Black yoga teachers.
Of course not.
True, but you know,
yeah, right.
I didn't see them. And then I was like, wait, that's clearly not true. Let's look. Yeah, like I need to do the work and find them where are they here in town? I want to go to a class where somebody doesn't, well, not even doesn't even, like, I have a whole ageism thing about yoga too. Like, I do not want to
Oh,
take a class by a 20-year-old blonde girl who's been in gymnastics and dance all her life.
right, right,
You know,
right.
I want, no, thank you. No. So in my quest for finding that, was like, okay, let's dig deeper. And found a studio in Denver. I've not gone yet because of the Rona. So that's on my list of things to do
Mm-hmm.
to support this this studio in Denver, and be better about going out, not just saying
Right.
I'm not racist,
Right.
and then going about my day like, no, I need to support. I need to support in some way. What way? Money, going there, talking, taking trainings, take different perspectives. It's just yeah, it was very eye-opening for me to realize that I knew, but I didn't do
No.
anything, you know, like I knew, but I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
did know, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and yeah, it's just, it's it's a, and then I don't want to like overperform, you know, like,
Yes, I understand.
oh, pick me, I'm, you know, I want to be your best friend, or you know, it's like, no, just be a normal person. Like, if you like how they are as a person or as a yoga teacher or whatever, like, okay, but don't go, you know, it's like, don't overstep and be weird.
Right.
So, because I think there are moments where that can happen too.
Yeah. Yeah.
For people, but yeah, it's definitely, it's a problem everywhere. It's definitely a problem where I live, because I just don't there. I see now, I'm branching out and noticing, oh yeah, okay, there are people of color that teach yoga nearby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh,
Shocker, you know. But it
yeah.
was like, where, not where were they 5 years ago when I got on Instagram, because they were there. Why didn't I see them? And
Right.
then that gets into a whole like, what were they like shadow banned or something? I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get into like some weird conspiracy, but
Right.
um, it's strange to me that that also just wasn't even they never popped up. I have to search.
Right.
So until
And
like now, within like the last year or so. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. Am I
I think
making sense?
some of it, yeah, you are making perfect sense because I think um there's this thing that white people don't have to know.
Yes.
You don't have to. You don't have to know. You don't have to navigate it. You don't have to
Right.
figure out how to deal with it. You don't have to. You have to
Right.
want to,
Right.
but you don't have to. For people of color, we have to.
Right.
Always had to.
Every
Always. Since the day you could recognize a whole bunch of shit. But
right.
you've always had to. So it's within your nature, your that's a lack of a better way of putting it,
Yeah.
to say, okay, yeah, that's a given. There are white folks there. But I also know there are people who look like me because if I'm doing it, there are other people who are doing it.
Right.
Um, eh, you know, so that to me is a key difference when you can accept and recognize that whoever the you are, you know what I'm saying? You can recognize that I don't have to, but that means that then I'm going to have to do the work. Part of what you're saying, I'm going to have to do the work. And, and I'm always posting diversify your feed. And I'm still trying to figure out reels. I'm like too old to figure shit out.
I don't. Yeah, I'm like, I can't. I haven't gone there yet.
I've been trying, but I did that reel. It's like diversify your feed. It's like, it's not hard. If you know how to do a hashtag, then you can find anybody.
Yep.
You can find anybody. You can hashtag indigenous yogis and you will find them.
Yep.
You can hashtag any. So don't, it's and that's what started for me the marriage of my professional self. And I don't even want to just say professional self, because I think that my whole being, my reason for being, is really all has always been around inclusion and diversity. Without those terms, child of the 60s, who was a combination of, yes, black power, big afro that moved in the wind. Wasn't like anybody else's afro because my hair is really thin. You could see through it. I wasn't Angela Davis, but I was like, yeah, absolutely. From that to walking around going, yes, peace, brother, peace, sister, peace, peace. You know, um, I was, so I grew up in that era where I was in high school in the 60s, and
Mhm.
um, we lived in New Jersey. I was born and raised in New Jersey, and I lived in Plainfield. And Plainfield had the riots right after.
Okay.
So Watts happened, Newark, New Jersey happened, and then Plainfield happened. Big history, quick history lesson for those who are listening.
Yeah.
And so, um, I was in high school, and I think it was not my senior year. I guess that would have been, I don't know what it was. It wasn't maybe it was my junior year. I don't remember. But and we had riots. And so I've often talked with my friends. I had a very Plainfield, New Jersey was a very diverse community at the time. It was a commute into Newark and into Manhattan. So it was a commuter city, And um I still have close high school friends, and it's fascinating to me, and very diverse group, that my high school friends, 99.9% of them went into some kind of work in social services. And
Oh,
I have this feeling that it had to do with the fact that we experienced the riots.
yep.
And that the impact of seeing tanks on your street, of walking out my backyard and having military surround the backyard with carabiners, and I'm like in high school, to my mother trying to get us, and my mom was a single mom, a single parent, trying to get us out of that city to go where her brother lived in Scotch Plains, to every barrier, checking her trunk. I mean, I have visuals to sleeping in the tub because there were gunshots. I mean, I still
Oh
have
my God.
all that visual. And so I think that the impact of all that, they say from a psychological standpoint, the decade of your teens is what really shapes you.
Yeah.
So what's happening in your life in your teens? So I think about my grandkids now. One will be, how old will he be? 15? I don't know,
You better
whatever.
get it right.
I know, right? I'm going, think about this decade that he is now experiencing, going, oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
um, but I think that for me, it has always been something it is who I am. It's sort of this innate thing. So it drifted professionally, it drifted personally, and I've always lived in fairly diverse places, but I always found myself in situations where I was the only one.
Oh, yeah.
So you can live in a diverse place and still find yourself the only one.
Right.
I really think the first time I experienced where black people were the majority was my first trip to Jamaica.
Oh,
And
yeah. Right.
that was sort of eye opening to be in a taxi and go, wow, the billboard has black people on
Right. Isn't that terrible though? Like that should just be.
You know,
We should be beyond that at that point. Like it shouldn't even
you know,
bother us. Like everybody freaking out at the interracial family eating Cheerios. That
right?
was just like a few years ago. People lost their minds. I'm like, well, again, where have you been? Like, I'm gonna start eating Cheerios again or whatever it was. Like,
Right, yeah, right.
just because it was like, bravo, like that is what
Right.
we all look like. That's what
So
we look
I
like.
think when we get to a point where we I don't know. I think globally we're at a point, and some of it has to do with technology because you can't hide it. I mean, you see
Yeah,
everything, you can't hide from it. You can pretend that you're hiding from it, but in reality you really can't.
right.
We're at a point because of that we can see globally what's happening and what the deal is, and that has also struck this chord about, I think, for many people of European descent, something that we people of color have always known is that I have never been in the minority.
Mm-hmm.
I have always been the global majority.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an empowering thing when you recognize. And
Yeah.
that empowering thing can, if all of us sort of tapped into that power, that could scare a lot of white folk.
Yes. Yep. Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately, that I don't have to buy into anymore. Some of it's age, I don't know, but I think there's a younger
Mm-hmm.
generation that is basically saying, I don't have to buy into that shit anymore. I don't have to
Yep.
buy into the fact that you think I'm less than anything.
Right.
It's not anything I have to do. Do you know the line of, I mean, there's some young people that know history stuff that I have never known, you know. So I think that there's this global wokeness that's happening about, people are people, but I think we have to get past this mm, there's always conflict before there's a resolution, right?
Yep.
I think people have to get past the conflicting piece, and that's many pieces of it, of the fact that, yeah, you know what? If all those brown people, black people, yellow people, red people sort of coalesced in some way globally,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
they all sort of figured it out, which there's so politics is a big piece of this, was so much of
Yeah.
politics tries to keep us from doing that, us from doing that. And
Yeah.
so I've always felt that it is so important to have allies because you need everybody. That's how I've always operated. You know, you can pretend you don't need everybody. I can pretend, well, we don't need white folk. We don't need whatever. Well, like the reality is who has held the power for so long.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right. Right.
and so there may be a lot of people of color go, what's she talking about? The reality is you need people who have been in power because you haven't been in so
Yeah.
many places. You need those allies. You need that support. You need that foundation. You need people to be your mentors and your supporters because you have not been allowed to because of systemic racism.
Right.
So, and that's a hard pill to swallow, I think, for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people of color. Um, which means that's why so many people put the brakes on in building relationships with people who don't look like them.
Right.
It's a protection too, just like it
Yeah.
is for white folks.
Yeah.
It's a protection too. So I don't even know if that made sense.
It did. No, it totally does. And I recently, at my work, they have an inclusion and diversity ambassador program. So I am the ambassador um, for my office, and we just had our first meeting last week. And so things will be a little different because of coronavirus, but we're tapping into that, although our current administration put up 7 buzzwords that you are not allowed to say if you work on any federal. I meant to grab that sheet with me because I wrote it down. That there's 7 words that we will not be able to say after November 21st when it goes into effect. And they are things like systemic racism and intersectionalism was another one. There's 5 more. I'm trying to remember. One of them was like ethics. It was weird. It was like, wait, what? We can't say that. So if we say any of these 7 words after the 21st, we could be audited by the government because it's we do a lot of federal work and they don't want those words going in. So everybody, we need to tell Biden and Harris to uncheck that shit on January 21 because
wow.
Yeah. Yep. I'll give it to, I'll send it to you when we're done here because I think it's downstairs. But yeah, there's 7 words and some of them just didn't even make sense. Like God, I'm trying to remember. It was like a neutral word, like ethics or something like that. It was like like, well, isn't that what I mean? we have to have ethics in here, and that word could be meant for many things, like pay gap or any, So yeah, there's 7 words that we are not allowed to say after the 21st of November. Because they don't believe in any of that. And they pulled it. I remember I briefly heard about it on the news maybe 2 weeks ago. And then in our meeting, we talked about it. So we were like saying all the words at the,
intersexuality, racism, systemic racism.
Yeah. It's really, yep.
Yes, I remember when that whole thing came out about diversity training. I'm a diversity and inclusion consultant and trainer and facilitator. So all of us in the, and I have colleagues really who are friends for over 25 years and we've done this work and we're like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
You have got to be kidding me. This is just, every time something like that would happen, we would go, it can't get any worse. And then you hear something else and you go, it's gotten worse. I can't believe it.
No. And I'm worried right now. I mean, not to get back to that guy, but like, it's so good right now, but how bad can it get? In the next couple months.
I know.
So, yeah. Shoot, I meant to bring that up upstairs, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's on the radar. That particular, because that's wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mind blowing.
I figured you would like that to know that, considering. Oh, your
don't
background.
Say like just. Can we whisper it? No.
I know. I guess we can. If it's not recorded, you could say
hold up the sign and go
right.
Systemic racism.
Right.
Yes. But
sign language, maybe. I don't know, but
wow.
I think if it's in an email or in any
that can be documented. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm, yeah, that we could get in trouble if they somehow figured it out. I don't know if they would be watching, but yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question for you about when's the last time you taught some yoga and it's a piece of your teaching yoga. I get interested in how am I asking this question? Like, get clear, Sharon. What are you asking? Is a piece of your teaching yoga sort of in its broad sense in an attempt to include this kind of conversation?
Yes, it was starting. I've barely taught this year. One, I was very sick starting in December. I'm wondering if it was the virus. Because I was very ill. December, got a little better, a week here or there.
I remember when you were sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Between Christmas and New Year's, I felt a little better, got sick again, felt a little better. then by February, I went to the doctor 3 or 4 times. Then they told me I had bronchitis. Yeah, so I really didn't teach during that time unless I felt better. I would go in and I, just kind of stand there, and I made things very, so the studio, I, I mean, I still technically, I guess, work there, is now, I don't know if it's not very diverse at all, at all. And like, it's definitely majority white. And I don't like that. I also don't know if, back to like what we were saying, is it the location of the studio? But we're all, I mean, it's,
Yeah, I got you.
so it's like, how do we, I want a more diverse class. So I would bring that in mostly during the beginning breathing, because I like slow flow or restorative yoga. So it would go in the beginning of like, hey, we're all here. If you twist and you touch your neighbor, guess what? It's okay. It's okay to have a little touch in there, even though you don't know them. Don't be afraid. Kind of like putting in some buzzwords.
Yeah.
Even though it'd be like majority white people, but I think that's who needs to hear it. And so I was starting to ease my way into that, because I really didn't know how it would be received. And then Corona, shut everything down. And I've taught 2 classes. I subbed 2 classes back in April, May, something like that, and haven't taught since, because I know a lot of people at the studio that are only yoga teachers, and give that to them. I have luckily have not been impacted with my job, so I don't want to take from somebody unless like they really need me to work. I teach a class. I would love it, but so I haven't been in it. I think this has given me this opportunity to reflect. I haven't really even done yoga, to be honest. Everything's so heavy to me, and I know that that's when you should be. I've been meditating more, so like
that is yoga.
Yeah, back to like, let me clarify. I haven't been doing asana.
That's right.
So yeah, and I've been meditating more. Like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to see my practice go? And how do I give that back to others? And I, just before all the shutdowns, there is a gal who is Asian who I absolutely love, and I want her to mentor me. And I love how she how her style of yoga too is very like, use a strap. Like,
gotcha.
Use the blocks. That's what they're there for. Not like, I can do it. It's like, so, it's like, let's be real with our bodies, not injure ourselves. So I like her for her as a teacher. First off, and was a little, I have to say, in my whiteness, was excited that she wasn't white.
Yeah.
And was like, finally, I just, randomly a friend was like, hey, I really love this teacher. Come with me, take this class. And I'm like, it's 40 minutes. I don't want to go. It's 45 minutes. What's so good about this class? And then I was obsessed after and want to take every class. I'll go wherever you are, so, it was really funny, but, I do. And then now that, this year just didn't turn out how we wanted it to, except for yesterday.
Yeah, thank you.
One good thing.
Cheers again.
So, yes. And so hopefully when we can get back to be physically near each other.
Right.
I do want to go into her teachings. And I really just feel like that might open me up to not be afraid to offend a white person. you
Mm,
know?
mhm, mhm.
So, because I felt like, oh, well, if I say this, I'm going to offend someone and then I'm going to get in trouble at the studio. But this is all me projecting.
Right, right, right.
But the reality is probably, you
Right.
know.
Mhm.
So, um, and honestly, I don't want to teach at a studio. I think what also would break that is I would love to have my own, not studio, but like have people come over in the backyard and then
Yeah.
then I don't feel like, well, Tally, you played a song with a cuss word in it and we're family friend or what, like, because I don't know if
You're
you're
right.
allowed to or not. And sometimes there's a cuss word in there you don't remember, or what, I mean, I don't know, but like, I want to be able, this is me, and this is who I want
Right.
coming to me. I also don't, I want that, but this is where like that overstep, I don't want to be, I want the inclusion,
Mhm.
but I don't want to be the white teacher.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like I do, because I want the inclusion, but oh yeah, okay, this white lady's gonna tell us what to do.
Right. Right.
Like I want to do like hikes, come hike and do yoga. But it's
Yeah.
like, which I love, but it's also, I don't want, I don't want to be the white person say it's not scared to go walking in the woods,
Right,
like,
right, right.
but I also don't want, because there is like a women of color hiking group in
Oh,
Colorado.
cool.
Yes. And I was like, can I join? Ah, damn it. It's like, I can't, and that's fine. And I shouldn't
Well,
have to.
you can't,
I
or
don't know.
have you well, that's the question. Do you see, I'm one of these people that always say, "Nah," you know, do I approach and go, "So here's the reason why I would love to join this group.
Hmm.
Let me be totally honest with you and be honest about it."
Yeah.
Sometimes there are in titles there are implieds,
Yeah.
like there, like on yoga you can go Sisters of Yoga, and it was started by a diverse group of yogis of color, but clearly they say anyone can join. However, if you look at the pictures, what it visually looks like to anyone, and you look at the hashtags, this is of yoga, you can maybe pick out the white yogis that are there, but it doesn't mean that white yogis can't be there.
Right.
And it's you know in some ways it's a step in the right direction. We just have to find a way that, you know I can't make you join, I can, but
Yeah.
if you came to me and say, here are the reasons why, yeah, I feel like I'm connected, feminism, women, I understand from my point of view, not yours. I know I'm not asking you to be my teacher as the black woman. No, I'm not
Right.
asking you to be, to fill me in on all the shit that I don't know. That's not what I'm
Right.
asking. What
Right.
I'm asking is, I need to build relationships. I need to build relationships, and I need to be able to, in a comfort level, be able to have those kind of conversations.
Hmm.
Um, and, I have yet to run into a group. I'm trying to think now.
Yeah.
A group that says, no, you can't. I can't think of one.
I bet
Um,
they would. I think I would want to leave it alone so they feel they have a safe space, you know, and not have that wrench in the wheel. But that's also me projecting. But I wouldn't
exactly.
want to like come in
Exactly.
and all of a sudden change the mood. Like you have a
Right.
women's group and then a man joins and all of a sudden everything changes. You don't talk about your period
It's
anymore, regardless of whether they can, oh, I grew
right,
up with
right,
sisters
right,
and a
right.
mom. But it's like all of a sudden you're like, I'm a little more reserved. So I wouldn't want to do
True.
that. Um, or just, find a group that has that include, like, just the inclusion already,
Right. Right.
which is hard. Or I need to start one. I don't know. We need to
Or you
start one.
need to start one. And I
Yeah.
think that may be, and that may be the key. When I did, and I know I don't even know how long we've been on now because of the timing, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you. But when I did the training at Big Bear in California last year, and they asked me to come, it was their first inclusive um yoga festival. I never saw so many people of color yogis in my life, and they had never had an inclusive. They set out and said, we're going to have this festival be inclusive. And so they deliberately and focusedly invited yoga teachers of color. And it was just, I was like, I'm ready to move to Big Bear. Like,
Yeah.
it was
That's
it
great.
it was wonderful. And one of the things that they had was a yogi who did hiking, because the person who was going to do it got sick, and they said, and they were asking the teachers that were coming, would you be willing to do the hiking yoga um session? And I'm like, I am such a city girl. I'm like shocked that my butt is getting up here in Big Bear, let alone you want me to hike in the woods. I could I could see me, I could take a walk in the woods
Right.
on a trail that's really clearly marked. But you want me to hike and do yoga in a place that I've never been to? I don't think
That's scary. Yeah.
yeah, I don't necessarily think that's for me, but it was a diverse group of yogis that went. It was,
Oh,
so it was this broad. So I'm saying I'm actually putting it out there. I'm encouraging you to put it out there. You never know.
yeah.
You may say, I'm going to start a group, because even if it starts with three people, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It,
The
it,
group.
it doesn't matter. I'm starting I want an inclusive, diverse group of yogis who want to do hiking yoga. Contact me.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
See what happens. Yeah.
Fred is always saying to me, I'm like, so honey, I had this idea. He goes, oh God. And here we are in Spain, and I go, I think I really want to teach yoga at the club. Is this the international club of Nirha International? What is it? Club de Nirha International, which of course is now not functioning because of Rona. She's
Right.
screwing everything up.
Yeah.
Um, But so I approached the president and I said, I really would love to teach yoga. Now, it's the international club, but it's largely run by British. It's kind of interesting.
Sure.
There's a very large British retiree population in Spain.
Hmm.
There are very few Americans. There isn't an American club, um, but it's also run largely by British.
Of course.
But so anyway, long story short, so she said, "Well, put together a proposal," and we happened to be at the club that day, and they did lots of trips, and some of the pictures that I've posted on my other page were from trips with the club. It's how we've gotten to know some people and gone really cool places here. And so there were a lot of people when I was talking to. It's like, well, would you do yoga? And they're like, yeah, we would love to do yoga. This is the president asking. And then they go, well, who's going to do the yoga classes? I'm sitting there and she goes, Sharon is. And they go, there's that momentary, oh, just moment. And they were like, cool. And then I engage and I say, well, not, we're not doing anything. No standing on your head, no standing in your hands.
Because
No.
that's what people who don't do yoga think, that that's what yoga is. Well, what? You can't do the splits? You can't touch your toes? You're a yoga teacher? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, right.
I am.
So we were all set, when we had to go back to the States, and I was supposed to start in the spring. And of course,
Oh,
that didn't happen. So I'm still looking forward to it. because there was space inside, but it's not a really large space. And a lot of the spaces here do have rooftops. I had this dream of doing the
Oh,
rooftop yoga here
yes.
in my building.
Oh,
I
yes.
still have. It's because it's the view is just.
I can't imagine. Sunset yoga on the rooftop?
I know. With wine after? No.
I was just going to say, with wine after. Yes. I mean,
So,
duh.
so I still have this view. Now it's not extremely diverse here. Um,
Right.
but it's diverse enough that so they're like these little pockets. I'm going like, I wonder how I can like, like get some, you know,
Yeah.
people to like come. So yeah, I say go for it. I say go for it. And then if you lead it, and when I come to Golden, whenever that is, I'll I will come. And then when you come here, we're going to the caves.
Yes. I'd probably take you up the 380 steps at Red Rocks Amphitheater. So just prepare
Oh,
yourself for
I
that.
would love to go. I've always wanted to go. I always want.
I live less than 4 miles away.
Oh my god.
I know. I know. And I don't, you think I'd be working out there every single day? No.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah.
see, now I have this vision. I'm such a visual person. I'm a visual learner, so it's like, and I'm going,
Mhm.
oh, okay,
Get
I got
ready.
you. I got you. How many steps?
Just 380.
Oh my god.
Maybe it's 200. No, I think it's 380. And it's like, it's straight up. And on top of, we're at what, 7,000 feet or 6,000
Oh
feet.
yeah,
Something like
right.
that.
Oh, so I'd have to train before I came.
Yeah, probably. Any of my friends that come and visit, I'm like, all right, let's go. Earn it.
Wow.
Earn
I
your
would definitely
Colorado
have to
status.
train. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I so appreciate this. I had such a great time talking to you. I'm clear we're going to probably have to do this again. You know,
Yeah.
we will definitely have to do this again. I really, really do appreciate it. I know that people are going to there are lots of pearls of wisdom that was just dropped along the way here. So I'm looking forward to what that yields. And one of the things that I hope we can do at some point is to have like a Q&A kind of thing. I know it froze there for a second, but yeah, people, we're really far apart, by the way, so the signals can be a problem. So I'm hoping that we can do that. Did you hear me? Maybe not. Hola. ¿Qué tal, Talle? Oh no. Isn't that weird how that happened just so quick? Oh, and whoops.
There.
There she is.
Do you see me? We
I
just got
see.
disconnected.
I know. I see you and you're sideways, but that's okay. I can go like this.
Hello?
Hola. Can you see me? You're sideways. Did you hear anything I said? Uh-oh, no. She got disconnected. Don't you just love technology? Oh, and now she's gone. And now she's there. And now she's gone. And we
Sharon?
I hear you, but I don't see you. Hola. Hello. What happened? Um hmm. I don't know what happened. Oh man. Let's see. See? We'll just pause. Pause, pause, pause.
Oh, that's me. I
But
don't want to
anyway,
see
I'm
any.
so glad we had an opportunity to talk. But I mean, it's okay that you're sideways. We could just go like this. People will go like this. So thank you. Hope.
There we
Oh,
go.
there you are. And you're righted. It's probably time of day for
Ah, you cut out again. Thank you, too. I heard thank you.
you. Thank you. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Did you hear that?